everybody, welcome back to That Fiction Life. Enola Holmes has just released on Netflix, and you most likely have connected the dots that this has something to do with the Arthur Conan Doyle series. Here's a little collection that I have. It's the Barnes & Noble Collector's Edition, and I adore this series. So when I heard that there was going to be another adaptation set within this universe, I was very excited. A lot of people were confounded as to who Enola Holmes is, because we don't know this character from the original stories. So today we're having a little bit of a character study, and I will be going through who the character is and how she fits into the Canon Sherlock universe. Now, the film which just released stars Millie Bobby Brown as Enola, Henry Cavill as Sherlock Holmes, and Sam Claflin as Mycroft. Now, we also have Eudoria Holmes being played by Helena Bonham Carter. It is such a charming and witty movie. I would highly recommend it if you are having a night in or you want to have a family film night. We're also going to talk about this particular lawsuit that you may have been hearing about lately to do with this series. So Enola Holmes was originally created in the book series, The Enola Holmes Mysteries by Nancy Springer. And I have the first book here, which is the film tie-in edition, so we have the film poster on the cover. It is the tiniest book. I couldn't find it in the envelope when it arrived. Thank you to Hotkey Books for sending this to me so I could have a flick through before watching the film. Now, this series has no connection to the original Sherlock Holmes books. The character of Enola was completely created by Nancy, and she is the younger sister of Sherlock and Mycroft. Now, Sherlock is a detective like in the original stories, and Mycroft works for the government. They are both significantly older than her. She is only 14 in the books. In the films, she is aged up a little bit to 16. Now, the Enola Holmes mystery follows the same plot as the film adaptation, quite loosely, but it still keeps the key moments in the book, and the heroine is trying to find her missing mother, but she also becomes tangled up in a case of a missing viscount. And throughout the story, she is trying to evade her brothers, so she herself is low-key a missing person as well. Now, her personality, in fact, does fall in line with the original Sherlock to an extent, as she is very blunt and quite comical in her line delivery. This is, of course, down to Millie Bobby Brown capturing her so well, but you feel that through the dialogue in the book too. She is, of course, very skilled as a detective, and that's largely down to her upbringing. This was such a fascinating part of her character. She was raised under quite unique circumstances, and quite controversially, because in those times everyone was focusing on bringing up these proper young ladies who know how to embroider and all they need to do is look for a husband. However, Eudoria decided to raise Enola in a completely opposite way. So they did science experiments. She taught her how to duel, made her read every book that they have in their library. It looked like such a wholesome childhood. I adore Enola as a character because she is very inspiring, and I think especially for younger viewers, her determination and her fight for reform in those times. It's set in the 1800s, and Enola herself going against the stereotypical life of a woman in those times. Now, we have to talk about John Watson, who is, of course, a huge part of the original Sherlock books. However, in the Enola Holmes mysteries, he is only mentioned briefly in the first book as the author of a book about Sherlock Holmes. So it's safe to assume that Sherlock and John have not met yet in this point in time. In this version of events, there is no mention of John Watson in the film. However, the books do feature him quite heavily in the sequels. In fact, an entire book is based on his kidnapping, where it is down for Enola to find out exactly what happened. Now, we have to talk about Sherlock's personality within Nancy's universe, because that has made some waves in the media. We are used to seeing a very oblivious and quite inept detective when it comes to emotions, but here he is understanding and caring, especially towards Enola, which is where it detaches itself quite a lot from the early Doyle works. There's a reason we are so intrigued by Sherlock Holmes, and this new version of him certainly doesn't explain why he's so much of a lone wolf at the start, because if you look at the original Sherlock Holmes books, he begins to work through his emotions in the last stories. Now this is very key because the lawsuit against Netflix and various other entities is based on this very fact. The plaintiffs are effectively saying that the more emotional Sherlock that appeared in the last 10 stories written by Doyle is effectively a new character. And since those stories were published later on and are not part of the public domain yet, no author, production company, artist has rights yet to use that version. So that is my little fact file all about Enola Holmes. Have you checked out the movie yet? I highly recommend you do. It's definitely something I watch again because I didn't expect it to be so funny. That's it for this video. Make sure to leave your thoughts on the film or the book down in the description. I would love to keep on discussing with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!